The following presentation of EFB Insider with Paul J. Higgins is being brought to you by Smart Stop Self-Storage, the smarter way to store. New location in Rancho Mission Viejo. Smart Stop, proud supporters of Santa Margarita football and EFB Insider.
On this edition of EFB Insider, Coach Rouzier talks about his first win as an Eagles head coach. Plus, Matthew Auriemma discusses switching from baseball to football and his one regret. Sam Caspino is only a junior, but he has made a name for himself as a hard worker and one player that has definite goals. This is EFB Insider, an inside weekly look into Eagle football. I'm Paul Higgins, and all the action starts right now. Coach, you got out of the gate pretty nicely against Mayfair. Anticipating that game, how was that as you got onto the field? What were your thoughts?
Well, like with everything in COVID, there was a lot of adjustments. There were no locker rooms. First thing we thought was, wow, this is a nice field. It was a dope stadium. I mean, it was huge. Our guys were ready. They practiced well. They were excited. The seniors had great things to say. The leadership council, the captains, they had a really good fire-up speech before when we left on Thursday. And so I felt very confident. How you prepare is how you perform.
Right.
And so they did a great job in practice. And then it was really interesting because it was one of those things where, it's like the iceberg. You see the game, you see this part, but it's all the things underneath it. And that was, months of commitment and sticking together and the grit and going through the tough times and getting in shape. And I think that, the second quarter was really, it brought the fruits of our labor of all of the work and effort that we've been doing collectively as a staff, the players, Coach Holly, getting these guys in condition. And then at that point we handled business.
Game on, and I talked to you that Friday morning, and it was about 9 o'clock in the morning. And you said, Paul, I learned from Coach Wieselmeyer not to get too excited too early.
Yeah.
Did you temper that feeling throughout the day? And then for yourself, did you feel as though this time as a head coach, you've been an interim head coach in Germany, but now you're a head coach. Sure. Did you feel as though that you changed a little bit as a coach as well as you entered this first game?
Well, for sure. The one thing was completely different than when I was in Germany was that in Germany I called all the plays, offense, defense, and special teams. And in this instance, I didn't call really any of the plays. And so it was a totally different vibe as far as like my involvement in the game. My whole thing was I'm just trying to stay out the way in a lot of ways. And I for sure, as it relates to the kids and like helping them to build up and to not get psyched out, I think that was something that definitely Wies left an indelible impression on me. And I love it because you're all hyped up and ready to go at 3 o'clock. We're not playing at 3 o'clock, we're playing at 7. So for sure, I think that just that experience really helped impact me, the coaches, and the boys came out. We got to come out a little bit better in the first quarter, especially this upcoming week. But I think it's just some tuning. It wasn't like a whole overarching thing that we need to change.
Trinity League upon you, and I know it's a shortened season, so there's no championship, so to speak, right? So how do you play these games with the same intensity of chasing maybe a championship? I know in one essence, hey, you want to win as many games as you can in the Trinity League. Your thoughts as you get into these games now?
Sure. Well, it's the best league in the country, and this is why I came and a lot of the coaches came here, and a lot of kids that have decided to come here. So winning and having the best record in the Trinity League is always something that we would be proud of. But more importantly than that, and really what we focus on, is just about getting better. We just want our kids to get better every day. And when they come on the field, they go out there and they give it their all. When they're inside the white, we don't have many rules, but you don't walk. And you fly around and get better and get better and get better. And find ways that instead of dragging it, you go out there and rip it. And so it's a shortened and it's a condensed time, and for these seniors, they've had 4 head coaches. So this opportunity for them to come together and play for each other and really be part of, in our words, like the dog culture, that's what this is about. And to see them do that, it's everything.
Coach, you know your players a little bit better. You mentioned something early in this interview about coaches, that you don't have to call every play. But what did you learn in this opening game about your coaches?
Well, I already knew from being with Embo in Germany that when he's in a rhythm, he's in a rhythm. And so the second quarter, you started to see that rhythm, and it goes. And getting your players the ball and getting them in space and attacking it, and if it works, you continuously attack that, was something that I already knew, but I saw it. I was super impressed with all the coaches. We're really grateful that we had this game because it was like more or less, it was our first opportunity together. We hadn't had different guys in the headsets, in different places, and so that experience was new. The one thing for sure that affirmed across the board, though, is that we were able to communicate. Nobody was fighting with each other on the headsets. Coach Fay, this was his first time calling a defense with us at Santa Margarita, and he did a great job up top in the booth, down on the field. Everybody was, how can I help? How can I make this better? And then not getting in the way and meddling. There was none of that. It was pretty harmonious through all the chaos.
What's exciting about this, Coach, is I get to talk to you each and every week, and sometimes, you might come off a bad week and you have to react, and I know that there's a little cooling down time, so the time that we do these interviews is going to be really fun, almost maybe therapeutic in one way or another.
Right.
Your thoughts about continuing the way that you do in your philosophy, and what are you learning about yourself even as we do these interviews?
Well, I think one thing from the last interview, so I always run a little hot. That's why I got the blood pressure deal going. But keep trusting your guys. Thank God that I have Coach Overton with me as the director of football operations. There's so many things that come your way so quickly. I got some really good advice early on when I was the head coach that it would probably be best to not be the coordinator and focus on developing the talent that you have and, creating and implementing a culture. And Coach Fay stepped up in a major way. And I'm learning more and more to delegate. I'm a hands-on guy, so being able to delegate and trust what they're doing and see a high level and just pop in and say, hey, you got that, right? And then we're all good. I think has been the biggest thing in growth for me as a young head coach.
Coach, it's great talking to you, and I know I'm going to have this opportunity, as I mentioned, each and every week, but I'm going to talk to two of your players. So thank you for, again, coming on the show. Good luck this weekend, and best of luck to you throughout the season.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's always a pleasure.
Coming up next on EFB Insider, Matt Auriemma. We'll be right back.
EFB Insider with Paul J. Higgins is being brought to you by Smart Stop Self Storage, the smarter way to store. New location in Rancho Mission Viejo. Smart Stop, proud supporters of Santa Margarita football and EFB Insider.
Matthew, I'm sure you've answered this question a number of times, but if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you it again. Stop playing baseball and you switch to football.
Yep.
What was that night before like when you're like going to make that decision? Do you remember that?
I do. So I was sitting at dinner with my family. My brother Michael played here for 2 years before me. Said his biggest regret was not playing his freshman year. And that ended up being my biggest regret. So my dad and my brother got together and talked with me, had me go sign up for football, go talk to Coach Fisher at the time. So I went up in his office at lunch, had a talk with him, and then came out and played the next day.
Do you miss baseball?
Nope.
No.
No.
What position in baseball did you play?
I was a first baseman and a third baseman.
So you were a very good infielder, so you could still be playing, right?
If I wanted to, I think I could.
Matthew, tell me about the rhythmic flow of a baseball game as opposed to the intensity of a football game. Did it take a little while to get used to that?
Yeah, so for baseball, for me, I would always do everything very methodically. Every play, it's the same exact thing. Foot placement, clean up first base, keep everything nice. And then for football, it's kind of line up and go. Especially switching over, I used to play offensive line to defensive line. It's a lot more instinct in defense. You can't think what you're doing before the play or during the play or else you'll lose because everything happens too fast. The preparation happens before versus during. So football is a very go sport. Baseball is kind of stop and think for a second.
So many different situations in baseball, but you find that way too now, the way football is coached. It seems like so many different lineups, and you're calling audibles and you're adjusting on defense. What do you like most about your position? Because it's a pretty tough position, defensive tackle, in any league, but you're in the Trinity League.
Yeah, so defensive tackle, the reason why it really stuck out to me, defensive tackle and defensive end, is because you get to be so physical. I grew up with two brothers, both older than me, the youngest of 4. So being physical kind of has always been in my DNA. So getting to come out and play defensive tackle, using my hands, using my body, hitting people, throwing people off, and then going making tackles is really something that resonates with me personally. It's just something that's fun for me.
So when you first got hit in football, it was no big deal. You were used to that with your brothers.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Now you have a very talented family in athletics, and I know that I would assume that you want to continue playing football. Is that true when you graduate?
Yep.
And would you want to play that position of defensive tackle, or is there a coach out there that might say, hey, you might be my tight end?
Yeah, so defensive tackle, I'm a little bit too small at 6'4", 230 for the college level, but tight end for me, I've been practicing it with my coaches recently. Defensive end, put on a little bit more weight, play there, but I'm completely open to really anything. Tight end is really what's sitting with me right now. It sounds very fun in college. Get to catch the ball, I get to play on the other side of it, use some of my O-line roots to help with the blocking that a tight end has to do.
You guys have been through a lot. Matthew, how have you handled the change of coaching and coaches over the last several years?
Well, we have a really strong core of coaches. Coach Rouzier has been here since I first came. He's always been very strong, one-directed minded person. So everything that he does kind of sat in, but it's also with the kids and the players before me. Everybody has been very together. There's always group chats, everybody's talking. Nobody's really left out of the loop, or nobody's really cut out. So it's just a very strong team bond that I feel like what keeps everybody together through the different coaching changes.
I've got 2 more questions for you, and they're short. Short-term goal for you, what would that be?
Playing college.
Playing college. This is a hard one. 3 words that describe you.
I would say hardworking. I would say determined. And I would say fun. I like to keep things light.
I like that, and I want to say patient too, because you were patient getting ready for this interview. You did a great job. I look forward to seeing you play throughout the Trinity League and also interviewing you from time to time throughout the season. Congratulations on all the early success.
Thank you.
Coming up next on EFB Insider, my conversation with Sam Caspino.
EFB Insider with Paul J. Higgins is being brought to you by Smart Stop Self-Storage, the smarter way to store. New location in Rancho Mission Viejo. Smart Stop, proud supporters of Santa Margarita football and EFB Insider.
Sam, I love your position of tight end. Now, I could never play tight end because I don't have the height that you do, or the size, or the speed. But what do you like about that position, and is it the position that you want to play?
Yeah, I think I just like that you're able to do everything. You're able to block and catch the ball, because receivers can only catch the ball and linemen are only able to block. But it's just kind of a position where you can do everything, and it's the favorite part about it.
Your quarterback was hot. Colt was hot on the first game of the season. And your thoughts about that, when a quarterback gets in the rhythm, do you feel it in the huddle? I mean, did you see that night as well against Mayfair?
Yeah, I think Colt played a great game, and we practiced all season long for it, and he really played the game that he's been trying to play.
Yeah, no, I was talking earlier, and of course, Matthew played baseball. Did you play any other sports before football? And if so, what were they, and how did you shift to football?
I played soccer till 8th grade, and I kind of just became tired of it, and I wanted contact, and I came to football, and I liked it a lot better.
So that first time that you had contact, was it what you thought it would be, or was it, all right, I can handle this?
Well, I think the first time I played football, I thought honestly getting hit would hurt, but I realized like when you have all that adrenaline in games, it doesn't hurt and it feels good.
So your thoughts, as I mentioned, you're a junior, so you've got your full senior season ahead of you. It's kind of a breath of fresh air for you because the seniors this year, with the abridged season, it's pretty hard. But are you looking forward to getting started pretty quickly once you end this year? Because you'll end in April, and then the season starts in August.
Yeah, I think it'll be good to then play a full 10-game season and have a whole new team because there's a lot of seniors, and get some new guys and have a good season full.
Your thoughts about the Trinity League and what you want to achieve personally as you guys get into these big games. Tell me about that.
Well, I think the Trinity League is the best league in the nation, and I think that for the first time in a couple of years we have like the best team we've had, and I think we're going to be able to really do something, and personally I just want to make an impact for the team.
Yeah, I think you will, for sure, no doubt about that. Coach Rouzier is a player's coach. He's also old school coach too. Your thoughts about that? You enjoying him as your head coach?
Yeah, I really like Coach Rouzier as my head coach. Probably my favorite head coach I've ever had, and just the way that he goes about everything and his leadership for us.
Camaraderie on this team seems pretty tight. I've been out to practice a few times. Brenton Kelly was out filming you guys the other day, getting ready for this show. It just seems like it's a tight group. I know it's early, and sometimes adversity brings a little challenges, but is there a lot of camaraderie on this team?
Yeah, I think our team's as close as it's been since I've been here, and I think it really helps when someone has a bad play, everyone's able to pick them back up, and we just work better as a team.
Sam, do you think that came from the times of you guys not knowing if you're going to play, and your season kept being pushed back? It seems like you guys stuck together through all that. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I think compared to other high schools, we did a great job of sticking together, and we played our club season, which gave us a chance to play some football and get better as a team while other high schools were not doing that.
I got to ask you, because when I played football, I was in Texas when I played football, and when I first got into it, it was hard to get used to all the different plays and where I must be at all times. Is that something, I know the more repetition that you get, and even though it's early in the season, but when do the plays just seem like seamless, where I know where to be and I know what's going on?
I think it just takes time every night studying the plays and repetitions through practice, and we have our meetings every day, and eventually after 8 months of practice, you kind of get it.
So how good was it to play the first game? Was it a strange thing coming on the field and just getting ready to play?
It was weird because it's been over 12 months since we've played an actual high school game, and it was fun to take that first snap.
Yeah, no doubt. I got 2 more questions for you. The same questions I asked Matthew. Short-term goal for you?
Short term, I think, well, this week just play a really good game and score a touchdown.
How about 3 words that describe you?
I think hardworking. I just try and work hard every single day and get better. I think determination, just every single play beating the guy across from me. And probably toughness, just not falling down and keep going.
Well, those are 3 good ones. Thanks for doing the interview. You did a great job. I wish you the best of luck, and since you're a junior, I'm going to be seeing a lot more of you. Good job, man.
Thank you.